Magnus has not been in the best of health recently, so I thought I'd do a little video to update you on what's happened and how he is doing. Be sure to click like and subscribe for more Magnus and Scout videos. Hello and welcome to another Magnus and Scout video. Magnus has been having quite a rough time recently with some health problems, so I thought I'd do a little update video to let you know how the old fellow is doing and what all has been happening. So the problems with Magnus's health began 2 weeks ago when Magnus was lying down one evening and he got up. When he got up, he let out a large yelp. We weren't sure if it was the greyhound's scream of death or perhaps he'd been lying funny, but he didn't make any more noises, so we didn't think too much of it. But the next evening, Magnus was trying to get up and let out a large yelp again. Then when he tried to lay down, he also let out a large yelp, and whenever he tried to move around, he started yelping, and there was a lot of panting, and Magnus looked pretty stressed and quite distressed. So we decided we'd need to get an appointment with the vet as soon as possible for Magnus to get checked out. So we got an appointment the next morning and we took Magnus along to the vet to get checked out. They did a full skeletal check of Magnus, checked all his muscles to try and identify where the pain was coming from. Magnus was yelping when he was touching certain points, so they couldn't exactly pinpoint if it was his neck or if it was his back or where it was on him that was causing so much discomfort. So he was given an injection and some pain medication. For that day he was a little bit stressed because he was still yelping as the pain meds hadn't quite kicked in and was in a little bit of discomfort. Whenever Magnus gets in discomfort, he'll come looking for comfort, as you can see here. But by the end of the day, Magnus was getting a little bit more comfortable and wasn't yelping. But then we noticed a problem with Magnus in his back, that his legs would start to give way and he couldn't hold his weight on the back. He would stand up but he'd basically start to dip at the back. So we called the vet and they suggested we take some video footage of this and go along the next day with Magnus to get him checked out. So we went along the next day and they gave Magnus some additional medication to try, and we had him set up for some acupuncture to try and alleviate the discomfort, which we, at this point we identified was in his lower back. So the medication he was given helped out a lot, and Magnus seemed to be really on the mend and back to his young, sprite, bright self, which was great to see that he was having no discomfort and was happy to sort of jump around and be his usual self. So we're planning to go back to the vet on the Saturday to speak to the vet about his medication and what the long-term plans were for it to reduce him off the medication, because he seemed to be doing great and completely recovered from his back injury. We were really happy with the progress that Magnus had made. He seemed like his usual self. So in the morning we're taking for a walk. That morning was torrential rain, winds howling, and it was very dark. Unfortunately, Magnus stepped in a puddle, and unknown to us and to Magnus was a drain underneath, and Magnus dropped his legs through the drain and got caught, and Magnus got scared and started to flail and actually did lots of damage to his ankle. So we had to rush Magnus to the vet to get his leg taken care of. He was put in for the day to get some surgery to get his leg all sewn up. It was a long day waiting for Magnus to come home. We were just waiting for that call from the vet to make sure that Magnus would be okay. So we set up the crate downstairs. Scout took it for a little test drive, but we had it set up for Magnus because he was to be on room confinement for the next couple of weeks while the wound healed. So it was quite late in the evening when we got the call back from the vet to go and collect Magnus. It'd been a long day for him, so he was basically being crate confinement for the next couple of days just to make sure the wound wasn't getting walked on or used, only going out for bathroom breaks and for some bites to eat. But he was pretty much on crate confinement. Then eventually he was given a bit more of room confinement, but he was very weak the first few days. Magnus wasn't eating anything at all, and he was definitely suffering for that. But eventually his appetite did come back and he did perk up a little bit, but still wasn't too happy. So now it's time to go back to the vet for the checkup. Magnus refused to get out of the car for the vet. I don't blame him. So they had to do the inspection in the rain in the trunk of the car to just check out Magnus and his leg. They're okay with the progress of his leg. Unfortunately, he had been trying to lick it in the car, so it meant when he got home it was time to put Magnus into the cone, as he had no interest in his foot before, but in that journey he developed an interest. Perhaps it was getting itchy, so I had to put the cone on Magnus, which he wasn't too happy about, to stop him eating and licking at the wound so it could heal properly without any infection. Yep, that's you, Magnus. The cone by itself worked quite well for a few days, and Magnus didn't seem to mind too much having it on, but eventually Magnus got too clever for himself and figured out how to get the cone off, so he basically got it off and started going back at his foot, which wasn't too good. We had to go back to the vet and get it cleaned up. So then they gave us a inflatable collar to use in conjunction with the cone to stop Magnus getting at his foot, so the wound could heal. This made it a bit harder for Magnus to navigate around the house, and he was bumping into lots and lots of things. We moved a little bit of the furniture also to give Max a bit wider turning circles, but it's still quite tight for Magnus to turn around from one direction to the other direction. Magnus also was doing quite well as far as didn't seem in too much pain or discomfort, so clearly the medication was helping Magnus as well. But again, just limiting his exercise to bathroom breaks and then just other parts of the house for meals. Otherwise he was in the living room just on his room confinement. Yeah, you're doing well, buddy, aren't you? Then it was time again to go back to the vet for some more checkups. This time they drew some blood as well, and I had to provide a urine sample for them. Magnus wasn't enjoying the blood drawing process, got a little bit stressed, but they managed to get some blood from him. Unfortunately, they found some issues with Magnus's kidneys not working quite as well as they should. Also, he'd managed to figure out how to get the collar off and the inflatable collar off, so he now had to basically take it up another level and use his Greyhound collar, which he really absolutely hates, and tape up some of the sides so you can stop licking the wound so it can heal. Magnus, we're trying to look out for you. So we've got some appointments to go back at the vet, some to check about his kidneys and his liver, and also eventually be going back to get the stitches out of his leg as well. But they seem to be quite happy with the progress of his leg, so hopefully by the weekend or early next weekend you'll have the stitches out. But that's how Magnus is doing. It's been a rough old few weeks for Magnus. He's been downstairs in the living room, only limited walks, and I've been sleeping on the sofa next to him to keep him company in the evenings and make sure he's taken care of. But we'll update you as we go back to the vet and as his condition progresses, but we'll let you know how he's doing. But that's how Magnus has been for the last 2 weeks. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon for more Magnus and Scout videos.